quick. Okay. So just wanted to do a review of like all the stuff we've got in flight as we're getting closer to sharing the new to-do list with end users. So we've got like 4 items that we've been talking about over the last week of things that we want to get addressed before we make it available to them. One is this performance regression. Thank you, IP, for jumping on that and getting an MR up for it. We want to hide the to-do metadata when SAML auth is required. So Amelia, thank you for getting those designs finalized yesterday. I saw Paul has an MR up for removing the slash view off of the URL, so that's more end user friendly. And it is a nice to have doing optimistic updates when clicking the mark is done, because right now it waits, for some, maybe multiple network requests before it clears off the item. And I think that would address some of the feedback that we're getting in the feedback issue of like, they click it and then they try to go move to another one and click the next one, but it moves in the interim. So I think if it just did it immediately, that might make that feel a lot better as well. Well, thank you, IP. IP, would you like to say the things? Then I can type for you.
Yes, sure. So one of the things that I realized is that we don't have record. We have recording on. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I realized when you are resolving multiple to-dos, you get multiple toasts with the undo, and it's completely impossible to realize which to-do it relates to. I looked at a promising email solution, and they only have one toast at all given times. So I was just, because I'm looking at it right away, I was wondering if we always just show one toast so that you only can undo the latest action. Gosh, that was harder than yeah.
I think I suppose that makes sense. We don't have a stack of toasts that you won't realize or won't know which one it's applying to anyway. Yeah, that was like one of the things I wanted to check in about too, like how we're feeling about the toast messages, because I know there was like feelings that we shouldn't go that route and stuff. So I kind of wanted to check in on that approach generally. I suppose it's not like a huge deal if we don't want to go in that direction, but it feels like it's also having those, like the to-dos immediately disappear and the toast and things. It's kind of enabling us to do things like multi-select and all of that kind of stuff, and like make some of the more downstream improvements that we're hoping to make to the list. But I understand that I saw the feedback issue this morning that people are accidentally marking things as done when they're not meant to be. And if we hide these toast messages, like it's going to be harder for them to undo those actions too. So yeah, I don't know if I have like a great answer to that. Sorry, it's very early in the morning for me.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
But I think probably only just showing the one toast message is probably the right answer, because a stack of them is going to be annoying for people and not helpful anyway. So
it's also very unhelpful because the toasts hide, right? So you make the movement you want one, and then the one you wanted to click on actually hides and moves position. So maybe having just one is the better answer.
Yeah. And also, I did notice in like Gmail, for example, that the toasts hang around for longer. Ours disappear pretty quickly. So that might also be something so that people can actually navigate to them before they disappear.
We hide them within 5 seconds. Should we just bump it to 10? Like,
that seems like it might at least give people the chance to navigate to it in whatever way they're navigating to these things.
Yes. Cool. Then I will make sure I will just have a quick look if it's possible to keep the documentation is very dense, and I honestly don't know if there's an easy way to say, hey, there's one to do, they have an ID, and if a new one comes up, just replace the old one.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
What happens if you click the button I'm always terrified of clicking, and that's mark all as done, right? Like, do we mark each one individually as done and then we get 20 toasts?
No, that's
No, it's a
actually
bulk API action.
it's a
Okay.
bulk, but the problem is it's a bulk API action, and it sends back the list of to-dos that you have marked as done, and then when we undo it, it's you send the list of the 50 to-dos back, and that request can take a long time and fail. So if you care about your 500 to-dos, maybe don't click it and try to undo it. Yeah. I think this relates. I talked to Adam earlier, who is a database reviewer, and there's a lot of stuff that can be improved performance-wise, and it obviously plays into it. So yeah. So one of the problems that we have is if you mark something as done, and it not just marks this as done, but it loads all the things again in the background. And so you can imagine that if you actually mark 500 to-dos as done, in the background, we are loading the data of 500 to-dos, even though we're not showing it.
Because mark all marks all, not just all the ones that you can see on the page.
That's not true anymore. I think, yep, it's now filtered. Mark all is done, filters by the filter that you have set. So if you just want to be like to-dos of Jeff be gone, you can filter by Jeff and mark all of them.
Yeah, but if I'm looking at all to-dos, I've got no filters. It's not just going to mark the 20 I can see as done. It's going to
Yes.
mark all however many. Okay. Yeah.
I
This
mean,
is why I don't press that button. It terrifies me. Like, and why I'm asking the question and not testing to
yeah.
see what happens.
I mean, I think this probably goes towards what Amelia is saying about selecting multiple to-dos as well. I think email provider also does it in a way that if you mark everything, it says like, do you want to mark the other 500 pages as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I like that because it's a bit clearer, like
Yeah.
what am I actually marking as done?
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot of this, including a lot of the performance stuff, is going to be fixed when we move to like a new way of thinking about these. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Very cool, very cool. IP, I don't know if we have an issue for this. I can create one if you need, but we got a couple of decisions here from the conversation.
I think with the toast timeout, I just have it now in my code, which I'm going to. I have a comment because I was literally just looking at that because it annoyed
Yeah.
me and I wanted to propose it to Amelia. Now we talked about it. So
Perfect.
10 seconds plus only one toast.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right.
So my big question here for you then would be, given that we basically have code freeze next week, is the hope to make it into 16.6 or
No.
is the ship already sailed for you? Okay.
Yeah, I would expect to make it available for end users in the 17.7 timeframe.
So in order to get snoozing to do's and filtering.
If we can get that at the same time, great.
Mm.
But I just want to make sure that we've got this initial pass
Yeah.
really well implemented, and then
Yes.
we can layer on more stuff as it's available.
Yeah. I found another bug today that we need an issue for. Should created it. If you are on page 2 or 3 and you switch the sorting order, it just dies. Like if you're on page 2 or 3 and you click
Yeah.
on created at and change to updated at, it just dies. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have fixed that in a branch that I was playing with pagination because I don't think we were resetting pagination when changing the sort
Yeah.
order.
Yeah. And another thing of note, we should really track if people are using the priority sort order because it's very stupidly implemented in the backend. It's doing a lot of because it actually what it does is kind of crazy. It gets all of your to-dos, it looks into each to-do, looks into the issues, see which labels are applied on the issues and merge requests, and then sorts the to-dos by the priority of those labels.
It's a lot of steps.
It
Yes.
sounds really efficient.
Yeah.
Do we have the tracking on filter selection? Did we add that when we put the filters in?
I'm looking to
Like
see what we got.
snowplow tracking or whatever. Because in theory, we should get
I can't remember
data on
either.
that pretty quickly, right? If we've
Yeah.
I mean,
added that in.
Jeff posted a screenshot the other day, right? Like with the
That
counts
might be
or
quicker
something.
than my SQL query. Yeah, we have a sort to-do list action, and so far the only ones we've seen in our internal users are created at ascending and descending, and then updated at descending.
Is it what, like literally the other ones have zero use?
At least in the last 7 days.
That's wild. We've not even tested them. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we should do
But
that
we
before
we
we
have
ship
that
it to
tracking
people.
though. That's good to know that we have that tracking is more what I was
Yeah.
getting at, right? Like we will know when we put it out there.
Oh, I can attest that the sorting with the priority sort, it is tested, so it will
Okay,
work,
good.
but no ideas about performance and whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Sorry for the sidetracked stuff.
No, that's
I
good.
think
This is what we wanted to figure out is like, what do we need to do before it goes live?
I also think there should be SAML stuff that but this is a rabbit hole that I want to open later. I think the first iteration is all right, but there's like some weird interactions with the SAML stuff.
I'm not surprised. That is very complicated.
Yeah.
All right. So we know what we need to do for launch. I wanted to start talking about the next things, like what's beyond this. So the next two milestones, we've got a handful of features, some of which are already kind of half implemented. Like we've got snoozing to-dos that's already on the way. We got filter UX that's about half done. We just got a couple of other little odds and ends, like adding a filter to exclude renovate bot so that you can hide all of the bot user comments. And then full text search in partnership with the global search team. Um, Thoughts on this?
I have thoughts on full text search.
Me too.
Yeah, go ahead.
This sounds really difficult. You said in partnership with Global Search, so maybe
Yep.
they have an idea that we don't know about, but there's no, because of the way to-dos work, there's no text to search without
Yeah.
doing a similar thing that Lucas mentioned on the labels, right? Like, does
Yeah, I've spoken with Ben and one of the Ians there, CZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, they supposedly have tooling and libraries and stuff that makes this pretty straightforward to index data into Elasticsearch for this. But if we look at it and be like, haha, no, that's fine. Like we can punt it and figure it
okay.
out later. Like I think the use case that this solves for is really important. We've heard a lot that people keep on email notifications just so that they have a good search database. It's like, oh yeah, somebody was talking about this a few months ago. Let me go find it so that I can get to that issue. Um, I'd love to be able to replace that use case and keep them in GitLab.
I mean, Sam, one thing that would be interesting, we could hypothetically, the stuff that we show, right? We could hypothetically save a copy on the to-dos themselves, which might make the to-dos cheaper, like the search stuff cheaper, for example, right? But yeah, I mean, that still would be an interesting bit, like with updating and whatnot, and how much the database would grow. Like these are all considerations that need to be talked through. So I don't know. I agree with what Sam said, and I think improved filtering UX for to-dos is probably not just the full text stuff is not level of effort. It says full text search may or not be in scope of this issue, depending on level of effort. It is definitely not part of that issue, is what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll go ahead and update the issue for that.
Because I mean, either the effort is that we need to talk to the search people, understand the framework, or the thing is we need to change things on our database side. Like it's a lot of, yeah. Just
it will be addressed in. All right, updated. That is no longer in scope.
Cool.
Okay, so we got a completely separate thing for full text search.
Cool.
The only other
Okay.
thing is the blueprint. We probably want to get moving on that sooner than later so that we can not necessarily start to answer questions, but start to ask questions about what it is we need to do and where we need to go, right? Like I don't want us to spend too long doing improvements on these things to then throw it all away. Like if we know we're going to throw it all away, we might make decisions a little differently.
That's fair. That's fair.
I know there's a borrow request out at the minute to get someone to
Mhm.
help us with that. I don't know what the timeline on somebody actually joining to help us with that is. Um, but I also don't think we necessarily need to wait for that to happen before we get started, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I know we've got an epic for that topic, but I don't know if we have a specific issue. I'll make sure that we have one to author technical blueprint, and we'll keep that in the next couple of milestones as well.
Yeah. It's something I'm really keen on getting moving.
For sure. For sure. All right. Anything else that we should make sure to have top of list over the next couple of milestones?
The bulk edit one, which you have under the big projects. I don't know if is that properly a big project or is that something we could look at in the next couple milestones? It seems like it would address some of the issues that are popping up in the feedback issue. So just throwing that out there. Is that
Yeah.
a crazy hard one to do as well or less hard than
I
search?
didn't get the thing in the beginning.
Bulk editing.
Bulk edit. Ah,
It's got a weight on it. It's an 8, which is bigger than the other
really?
things that we've been doing. You put the weight on it. You tell me.
I did put the
I
8.
thought it was you. Maybe it was Paul.
I mean,
Where's the issue for that? Have you got it handy? It's
I'll
not in
find
there.
it. I don't have it handy. Give me just a second.
because to me it feels now like selecting, like adding a checkbox in the beginning of them.
We'll edit notifications.
One thing that I actually liked, and I don't know if that I used big email provider today, and I looked in how they do pagination and stuff. They keep the tooling, the filter, and everything. They keep it sticky so that if you scroll down in your list, you're always seeing the filter. And I think this is something we should think about, especially considering bulk editing, because then you would have the controls of the unselecting, selecting, always visible, right?
That
Yeah.
could be a nice affordance. Do we do that elsewhere in GitLab for any of our big lists of things? No? Okay.
I don't think we should, but I don't think we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's GitLab, right? Like, who has the expectation that the UX is consistent?
That weight of it was 3 months ago before we had the view,
Yeah.
the view
Oh,
app,
okay,
right?
okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
potentially,
Well, yeah, I'm happy to pull that
probably not on
forward.
it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so of the three big projects, right, we've got bulk edit, which maybe isn't that big, applying the notification settings to to-dos, and then the preview drawer for discussions, both of which, Amelia, thank you for getting designs finalized on those recently.
Oh,
And this is a blend of like, you know, your product sense, like what do you think would be the most impactful, as well as kind of a technical point of view of, what is something that is relatively achievable in contrast to the other ones.
Having settings actually control what is applying to the to-do page would be feels pretty important, especially to get it ready before we start introducing new ones. But it also seems like the one we might be a little bit blocked on until we get additional support. So maybe that's out. Just maybe we can't actually properly complete that yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know I've got at least a couple of issues that I would love to implement of like adding replies to comment threads as to-dos. And the feedback from the survey Tina ran, it's everywhere. People are very, very mad that replies to their comments don't give them a notification to go follow up with that comment. But we can't do that because there's no way for users to opt out of that experience. They can't even turn off notifications on a single issue. They're always going to get it. So that would help some people, but make a lot of people very, very, very unhappy. So without some kind of notification settings tied into to-dos, we can't do that yet.
I guess is that a question for like Sam? Are we completely
Yes.
blocked on moving forward? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of reading. Blocked on moving forward on the settings. Um, I don't think so. This is why I want that technical blueprint, right? Because we're not blocked. We're never really blocked. It's just whether it's worth doing that now or waiting until we've done that other thing. But what you've just said there, Jeff, probably makes sense to say like, nah, this is probably worth doing, even if we have to do it twice. Um, like do it and then re-architect it later. So no, not blocked. I think I just pushed it out before because I was apprehensive on.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it's reasonable to prioritize the technical blueprint, right? To do the work to understand how does this thing need to work, right? Because we're not in such a desperate need to add a million to-dos that we have to have this tomorrow. So I think if we were to prioritize the blueprint, call this notification setting stuff blocked on the blueprint, and then we can decide once we know what the direction is going to be on whether or not we can do something quick now, or if we need to, stick with the UI focused stuff while we refiddle the back end.
Yeah, that's exactly. And this is why I want that blueprint because I'm not saying it's blocked by the work that the blueprint tells us to do.
Yeah.
But there might be something in that blueprint that says like, well, this is pointless doing it now. Or it might be actually it's totally fine. Let's move ahead with doing this now. So yeah. I guess it's similar for a lot of these, to be honest. Just notification settings is one that's a bit harder to reverse if there's a setting that we add that we then can't use on the new one. Propane the bulk editing? Is that a typo or
Prepone, sorry.
Thought you meant like
Autocorrect.
set fire to it, like never mind, we're not doing it. Like,
Yeah. Just literally an hour ago, comments trickled in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So maybe what we could say is 17.7 and 8, we're focused on these features in the technical blueprint. Maybe 17.8 and 9 timeframe, we start looking at bulk edit. And then in that same time frame, we'll be able to figure out if we have what we need to do notification settings. Does that sound about right to folks? Is that where we're all kind of lining up on?
sounds
What
about
is
right.
what is our availability in 17.7?
Probably terrible. Like that's
Yeah.
Christmas holidays. I'm honestly expecting to be out at least a week at the end of the year. I imagine a lot of other folks will be as well.
I will be gone for 3 weeks, but yeah.
3
Well,
weeks.
17.7 will come, it ends like just before the big part of the holidays, right? Like apart from maybe the US, but we don't have any engineers in the
That's true.
US.
Yeah.
Paul is out for a good chunk of the start of it.
Mhm.
When does Paul get back? Paul gets back on the 22nd of November, so that's like the
The first week of the milestone.
week,
Yeah.
the first week of the milestone. There's some random public holidays. I'm out, but like that's not going to affect the engineering side of things really, and no one else has anything booked yet.
Yeah. I will
So
be out for a day or so because I need to look at
yes, a
personal
day or so is fine. There's no one out for like a big chunk of the
Yeah.
milestones. I'm saying like it's probably better capacity than it is or has been this milestone.
Yeah.
I know Thomas is sort of here, not here. He's over or he's flying now actually over to India. He'll be working from there for the next few weeks.
That's fine.
So he's here, but bear in mind he's somewhere where he doesn't normally work, so his productivity may be a little down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm out basically the next milestone after that. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's 17.8 where everyone's
17.8,
gonna
I'm
be.
basically out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like I was just wondering whether it's worthwhile to prepone the bulk editing then.
If you could put a weight on it, like top of your head right now,
I
obviously
would
it's not
probably say 2 or 3. It's not
2 or 3,
necessary.
then I would say, yeah, pull it forward. It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
It's going to help me. So selfishly, let's pull it.
Yeah, I mean, we
Just
could put it
update
in
your
front
GDK
of
and do it
more of
yourself
the
tomorrow.
filtering stuff. So snoozing to-dos, bulk editing, and then the
So
filtering stuff.
my gut feeling is because the snoozing doesn't exist, nobody is missing it, right? So I wonder if like the bulk editing would be more important than the snoozing, right? Because if we lose our people over the course of the next month and they start using email, it's yeah, just that would be my
Yeah, I think
reason
that's a
for
fair
doing it
point.
first. Yeah.
What do you think, Amelia?
I but the point about they're not missing snoozing because they don't have it is probably a good one. Yeah. And bulk editing, I do feel like would address a lot of the problems that we're seeing popping up with
Okay.
the behaviors on the list. I'd be up for moving forward.
We can announce snoozing as like its own feature
Yes.
after that as well, right? Like if we do it next milestone, we'll probably be releasing the two things together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That feels like a more polished thing, actually, right? Like having Imagine for self-managed in 17.7. It's the new Vue version. It has bulk editing, which we didn't have before. It has better filtering, maybe. I don't know. That feels like a well-rounded thing, and then more to come. And either we ship it in the same milestone or the milestone after. Hey, by the way, snoozing. But I mean, snoozing just in time for Christmas is also nice, right? Like you can snooze it into the next year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go revisit the issue a little bit because I had assumed they would be implemented in the opposite order. So there's a bunch of stuff in the bulk editing that's talking about snoozing, which we obviously won't have yet. So I may have to split that up into a couple of different stages, but I'll get that sorted for the next milestone.
Cool.
I have to pop into my one-on-one with my manager, so I'll see you all next time.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Later, Amelia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Coolio.
Well, I think this was it. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to hit on before we drop?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Cool.
Glad to be
Yeah.
back and helping with stuff.
Yeah, likewise.
No.
Awesome.
I guess,
appreciate
well,
your-
there is, I've asked you this a couple of times already and you've said no, but I'll ask you one more time, Lucas. Is there anything you need to get this done? Because I'm aware that you are like
The only one right now,
right
next
now.
to these.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the reason why I asked stress-wise on like if Jeff wants to ship something, but given that we have not enabled the feature flag by default, I'm pretty relaxed, right?
Yeah.
This is also the reason why I preponed why I looked into the performance stuff first. And I honestly, for example, think that the slash view like might not be important then, right? Like
I know some people are using it to eject out of the view to do thing, like explicitly, but
this is for example the question, because in the end the URL bit is like a tiny thing in a sense of when it affects the users, and maybe the people would not eject out if once the performance regression stuff and so on.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Yeah, I see that as being that can be one of the last things we ship. If it doesn't land in 17.6, that's fine. If it lands 3 days before we ship, that's also fine. Like
makes sense.
It's not urgent.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the discussion today, all. This was super helpful.
Thanks all. See you later.
Cool.
I'll catch you later.
Catch you later. Bye.